Hello everyone, I am Joël Flinois, Product Line Manager on Helicopter Simulation for Thales, and I am very happy to welcome you for my presentation on mixed reality for helicopter pilot training. You'll discover in my presentation our new flight trainer, HeliMission. But before starting, let me propose you a small trip in the virtual reality and mixed reality world. Before starting my presentation, few definitions to introduce mixed reality. VR technology is the capacity to place a user in a full virtual environment. It's a well-known technology today, and VR helmet or goggles are used to immerse the user in this environment. Mixed reality is a merge between the real world and the virtual world to produce a new environment. We can have augmented reality. In this case, additional informations, pictures, videos are added on the real world according to what the user is looking. It's, for example, what we can do with HoloLens goggles. But we also have augmented virtuality, which is the opposite. We add real information or views in a full virtual environment. To do that, we generally need cameras on the VR helmet which capture the real-world view. Here is an history of VR helmets evolution since the very beginning. VR goggles were used at the beginning mainly for experimentations, for example by the NASA. But the technology really started its development after 2000, with a real entry on the public market around 2010. We really observe today an explosion of the different solutions on the market, with a very fast evolution of the performances on these helmets. They now integrate cameras to make mixed reality and even gaze tracking solutions. Initial limitations of VR technology were the following: bad resolution of the display in the helmet, a very limited field of view, too small, too long latencies, that means the delay between the display of the image and the head position, the size and weight of the helmet, too big, the use of cables, and for all these reasons, the risk for user to be sick when using VR helmet was very important. So where are we today? The resolution has been significantly increased, more than 4K, but for certain applications it's still not enough. The field of view is now 120 degrees, which is really better, and the latency has been significantly reduced. Helmets are much more comfortable, but there are still cables. Maybe one day we'll have wireless helmet. And the risk of sickness, unfortunately, still exists. We'll always have people who will have concerns to support VR helmets. Today we can find on the market very efficient VR flight trainers. The recent EASA certification of such systems opens the door to new possibilities in terms of pilot training. These systems are cost-efficient, small and easy to install, well adapted to light helicopters. So it's a solution to improve the access to simulation for pilot training. In addition, these systems provide very good performances, full immersive view, realistic animation of the cockpit instruments, allowing a pilot to interact with these virtual instruments, and a realistic virtual pilot avatar simulations. This solution is fully in line with the objectives of the EASA Rotorcraft Safety Roadmap. Nevertheless, these systems have few limitations today. It's a single pilot for the moment, so it's not possible to make multi-crew cooperation training. And it's not really adapted to more complex helicopters with lots of instruments and even touchscreens for avionics systems. In addition, the number of training credits allocated by the EASA remains quite limited. You cannot do recurrent training and proficiency checks, for example. So we'll need to find technical solutions to improve this type of training devices. In addition, as you can see on this animation, the cockpits have significantly changed these last years, with less analogic instruments, less buttons and switches, and more displays with large screens. Today, all main functions are centralized on a limited number of screens installed in the cockpit and connected to all the equipment of the helicopter. There are also more and more high-performance touchscreens for the avionics systems, on which a large number of menus are accessible. The consequence is that it's more difficult to simulate, and the use of real equipment can be needed to reproduce the real behavior of the helicopter. So it's not really adapted to full VR trainer, which requires simulated equipment integrated in the virtual cockpit. Mixed reality can therefore be a solution for this type of cockpit. The principle, as shown on this picture, is to merge two different images, a virtual image and a real image which captures the view on the real instrument with the two cameras integrated in the helmet. We have experimented this solution on our single pilot VR trainer. We have added touchscreens around the pilot on which rehosted software of the real avionics system is displayed. The particularity of our trainer is that we run our FFS Level D helicopter model. We have also the same flight controls than in our full flight simulators, and we run a high-fidelity simulation with all the functionalities available on our FFS. Here are pictures of what the pilot can see in the helmet. All the cockpit structure and the external view are virtual, but the instruments in front of the pilot in the cockpit and on the pedestals are real, and you can see the real hands and legs of the pilot. Just a short video to introduce our HeliMission trainer. Touchscreens are installed around the pilot, and the pilot can manipulate the touchscreens like in the real world. From the helmet view, you can see these touchscreens around the pilot, and all the cockpit structure and external view are virtual. So it's a full immersive view like in standard virtual reality. The pilot can manipulate the touchscreens. You can see here the external views. And here, what he can see in the helmet. He has access to all the functions available on the touchscreens. He can also see his legs and hands. So, what are the benefits of this solution? This solution is compliant with the new generation of helicopter integrating complex instruments and touchscreens. You can even integrate around the pilot real equipment and real MFDs for avionics systems. Mixed reality can also be a solution for MCC, multi-crew cooperation, because you can see the other pilots through your helmets when we have a double-seat cockpit. It's certainly a solution to increase the number of training credits allocated by the authorities, and it will allow more training possibilities. But it needs to be clear that new technologies do not supersede the need of high fidelity for the simulation. As you know, EASA expectation is always to avoid the risk of negative training, and high-fidelity helicopter behavior is today more and more requested by the authorities for the training, for example, for the auto-rotation, vortex, unanticipated yaw, and so on. So to warranty this level of fidelity, the helicopter behavior should be objectively checked through a QTG, like on a full flight simulator. Doing that, it should be possible to perform recurrent training and operational checkings on this type of trainers. But the remaining question is, how can we combine cost-effective mixed reality trainers with a high-fidelity simulation, which generally requires an helicopter manufacturer data package? The question is open today. An helicopter manufacturer must be involved in this evolution. The next steps will be to use the new eye tracking solution now integrated in last generation of helmets. With this new capacity, it will be possible to objectively measure pilot performances, detect wrong behaviors, measure mental load and level of stress, provides tools to assist the instructor. It's clearly a first step towards CBTA, competence-based training assessment, and to EBT, evidence-based training. Human factor analysis is the next big evolution to improve pilot training efficiency. To conclude my presentation, pilot training must continue to benefit of new technologies, and virtual reality and mixed reality will continue to be improved every year. The future of pilot training devices will certainly be a mix of several technologies. In parallel, new technologies need to be fully integrated in EASA FSTD qualification standard, and more training credits are expected on this new generation of training devices. The integration of CBTA, competency-based training assessment, and human factors are clearly the next steps to improve pilot training. And we need to continue to promote the use of simulation for the pilot training for safety reasons. These new technologies are certainly a good solution to reach these objectives.
I hope you are still with me and that you have enjoyed this small trip in virtual reality and mixed reality world, and also in the future of the pilot training. Do not hesitate to ask your question during the next live Q&A session, which will follow. Bye-bye.